But today we are going to see how to do this binary search. We have seen logic for binary search and everything, and we are going to see how to implement this binary search in a recursive manner. Binary search by using recursive manner, we are going to see to it. Okay, we'll implement logic behind it. So let me write header file. Have you all tried it? If at all you have tried it, you can post your code in chat box. I'll see to it. Okay, let us assume main and let me write the station of it. Return 0. Guys, the reason behind teaching recursion is where you are going to see with merge sort the next algorithm. So if at all you are going to implement merge sort in a recursive way, you need knowledge about recursion. Without knowledge about recursion, it's very hard for us to understand the concept behind your merge sort. You're going to write before using recursion, what's going to happen is your logic will be too long. It will be going too long. Your code will not be in an optimized way. Is that clear? Shall we proceed? Okay, fine. So now let me declare an array. So here I'm going to initialize directly. Since in order to avoid number of lines, I'll initialize directly. Whenever you're writing program, just you can accept from user. It's up to you. Okay. So whenever you're going to implement this binary search, the one important point is the binary search can be done only in a sorted array. So let us assume this is an array, and here what is the n value? Count the n value here. So you can notice that how many values are there? 4, 8 and followed by 9. So let me give one more value. 10 values are there. So n value is 10, that is nothing but size of the array. And here I'm going to implement binary search. So let me mention binary search, and here what I'm supposed to pass. Here I'm supposed to pass array. Whenever you're passing array, I'll pass array and size of the array. So in case of binary search, you're going to search for a key value. So let me do one thing. We'll declare one variable called key and we'll accept this key value from user. So printf enter key. So after this, accept what is the value to be searched from user. That is nothing but accept by using scanf ampersand of key. So now we accept the input from the user. And after this, you're supposed to pass your array and followed by the size of the array and followed by your key value as your parameter. The element to be searched as your parameter. Now let us go ahead with your function definition part. So in case of binary search, what is the logic? We people are going to consecutively divide an array, okay, into you're going to divide into two equal halves. So what you're going to follow here? That is nothing but we're going to follow divide and conquer approach here. So dividing a array continuously two elements, two half you're going to divide it. So now let us write a logic for it. So what is the logic? What is the logic we'll be doing? We'll be having two pointer. One is high pointer and other is low pointer. We'll be having these two pointer, right? So here I'll do one thing. I'll declare my low pointer is 0 and let me declare and my high pointers. Let me declare two variable name. One is low and other is high. So let us declare your low pointer is initially 0th position and your high pointer is initially your n minus 1, size minus 1. Your index size starts with 0 to n minus 1. So dividing it in a half, continuously you're going to divide it in half, right? So let me consider your high and low initial value here. So you're supposed to pass along with that your low value as well as high value has to be passed as your parameter. So how many parameters required? You're supposed to pass your array, size and followed by a key value has to be passed as a parameter. Is this clear? Okay. And next is we'll go ahead with your function definition there. And from here, what are the things I'm passing is that size n value required here. We'll avoid this n value. Since you're going to pass your low and high value, n value is not required, right? So low and high is going to keep track of your pointer. In case of binary search, we'll remove this one. So these are the elements required. Now we'll go ahead with your definition part. We'll have one element to receive the array, that is nothing but a pointer. Let me do this as a pointer, and next is the next element is key element to be searched. A key element to be searched. Let me have int key. That's the next parameter, right? So int key. Okay, and what is the next parameter? We are supposed to pass 4 parameter array key low and high. So let me declare 2 more variables. One is your starting position. So let me mention int start and followed by int end. So these are the 4 parameters which are receiving from user, and followed by it we are going to have a next process. Okay, now we are just a minute, let me expand this, it will be easy for your visibility. Okay, so from here we are passing these values and I'm receiving here by using array key start and end, and here I'm going to have my logic here. Normally in case of binary search, what you're going to take low and high value, divide it, you'll get a mid value. So based on your value, if at all your value is less than your mid value, you're supposed to decrement your high pointer. If at all your value is greater than your mid value, you're supposed to increment your low pointer, right? This is you're going to do it. You're going to do it consecutively. What is the breaking condition we are used? Your termination condition. Your termination condition is until my low value is less than high, it can proceed. So once I reaches less than or equal to, it will be proceeding. Once it reaches the high value is less than low, when this condition comes, it terminates. This is the termination condition which you have seen for binary search. Now here I'm going to implement it. That is nothing but here I mention if at all my start value equals to my low value, equals to my high value, end value. If at all my start value is equals to my end value. So before your termination point, that is mean that before your high becomes less than L, there will be one saturation point where your high and N will be at the equal position. So I'm taking the particular position. If it is the start value and end values are equal, I'm going to apply one condition here. So let me tell you what is the condition. Here I'm going to apply one condition, that is nothing but I'll check if my inside this I'll have one if. I'll check if my array of start value is equals to my key value. This is the termination condition where I'm going to check. If at all my array of start value equals to my key value, I'll return my start value as the index position where we found. Else, which means that the element is not there, which means that I'm supposed to return -1 as a result. Guys, is this clear? That is nothing but a termination condition I'm mentioning here. The reason is I'm going to mention recursion part. Normally the termination condition will be whenever your low value is less than high value, or until your low value is less than high value, the loop will be executed. Once it reaches your low value is greater than your, sorry, whenever your high value is greater than your low value, that's a termination condition which you have seen. So now, guys, is the screen visible? Come on, respond me. Okay, fine. So now the termination condition is whenever a high value is less than low value, it's going to terminate. So before reaching this point, I can able to come to the conclusion where at certain point where your low value and high value will be equal. So in those cases, I'll apply one condition. If this is a thing, but whenever your low value and high value is equal, I check where the particular position is equals to your key value. If it is not equals to your key value, which means the element is not there. When it is equal, that is the point where the element is found. I mentioned the termination condition. So this is all about whenever I'm having the point where your low goes to your greater value and high comes to the less value. Other termination condition I mentioned here. So whenever the value is not equal, whenever your start is not equal to n, I should have some else part, right? I'll be mentioning a else part where in case of else part, what you're going to consider continuously, whenever your start is not equal to n value, I'll declare one element called mid. So you can declare one variable called mid here. For calculating mid value, I can declare one person called mid, and here I can write my logic where my start plus end divide by 2. This is your mid value. I'm going to calculate it. And after calculating mid value, you're supposed to implement the logic here. I'm going to check if my key value is equals to my array of index. It is nothing but I'm checking where the divided value, the mid value is equals to my key value. If it is equal, directly I can return my mid value. Right? I can return my mid value, that is the position where I found the element. If the element is not there, if this condition is not true, I can check with one more condition. If my key value is less than your array of mid value, or should not be equal to, the reason is equal to condition has been checked already. So I'll check whether my key value is less than array of mid value. If it is lesser, what does it mean? The value will be in the left hand side range. So you're supposed to reassign your mid value by calling the function again. So return, call your function again. What's the function name? Here we have mentioned binary search. So you're supposed to call this function again. Just a minute. Let me copy paste it. If at all you're writing it, will cause you some error again. So let me copy paste the same function call. So let me copy paste. Yeah. So let me remove this one. Here I'm supposed to pass my array and followed by a key value and followed by the starting index and followed by the ending index. So what we said, if at all your key value is less than mid value, who should be modified? Your starting index should be modified with mid minus 1. So I'll be modifying him to mid minus 1. Right. And next, if this condition is not true, what does it mean? If this condition is not true, by default, what happens? The value will be greater than your mid value. So you're supposed to call your binary search where your end value should be modified. Your start remains as such, where your end value should be modified with where your end value, are we doing right? Low value is modified, okay. And here, sorry guys, we made a small mistake here. If a key value is less than array of mid value, modify your end position. We made a mistake here. Sorry guys. Here, your start value should be as such. And your end value should be modified with mid minus 1. Okay. If at all the key value is greater than the mid value, where your start position should be modified with mid plus 1 and your end position will be remaining as such. Is this logic clear, guys? The same logic for your binary search. Whatever implemented, instead of using while loop, I'm calling the function again. Is this clear what I'm doing here? Come on, respond me. Is this clear process? Okay, good. Now, this function will be called again. At certain point, you can notice that if the element is, I'll be doing again and again. At certain point, I can notice that where your start value will be equals to your end value, that is nothing but the position where the element is found. If it is going beyond the range, you can able to find out that the element is not there. Right. So before reaching the cross point, if you find the mean while the element is there, if at all your key value is equals to array of mid value, it will be returning it. So now the return type is integer. So if the element is there, we are going to return the integer value of it. If the element is not there, I return minus 1. This is the condition we applied for this algorithm. So now I can have a variable int result. And here I can apply condition. If at all my result is not equals to -1, if at all my result is not equals to -1, I can mention the element found is element found in index position. I can mention percentage %d, comma, a I value. Else, I can directly print that printf element not found. Is this clear, guys? If at all it is throwing a positive value starting from 0, which means the element is found. If it is throwing negative value -1, which means the element is not there. Now let us execute this program. We'll check to it how it is working. This is nothing but the same binary search algorithm what you have seen previously. We are reading how to deal with a recursion manner. So now let me execute it. What happened? Sorry guys, as we do in Python, command line will be hash in Python. Here semicolon. So if at all you are doing parallelly Python or something, Python doesn't have semicolon, parentheses, all those things. So the program will be reflected here. Okay. Result, right? Not I, result value. Okay, fine. Just a minute, I'll share you the output window. Okay. You can notice that it is asking for enter key. So in this particular array, I have given certain values starting from 2 to 50. So let us assume I'm going to search for an element 6, whether it is there or not. So it has given my output. The element is found in index position 2. So let me go back and will check in the program whether this particular value is present at the second index position. Yes, just a minute, it is not visible. Okay, you can notice that 6 value we are given, the input what you are given is present at the second index position. This is 0th index position, first index position, second index position. So based on the input whatever I am giving, if at all the element is there, it is going to display you the index position. If at all the element is not there, it is going to display just a small statement that is nothing but element not found. Is this clear, guys? Recursion by how to implement in case of binary search? The same algorithm. I didn't do much modification here. A very small algorithm. Okay, good, good. Shall I give one small task for you people? Will you try it out by using recursion, a small program by using recursion? The program, everyone knows, I guess, everyone knows about sum of digit. Have you all? Sum of digit? Sum of digit is nothing but a small scenario. If at all the given number is, let us assume the given number, a single number is like this. The given number is 345. If the given number is like this, I want my result as to be displayed as 3 plus 4 plus 5, summation of it. So you can notice that 3 plus 4 gives you 7, 7 plus 5. That should be your output. Is that clear? Will you all try it by using recursion, guys? This program by using recursion. Okay, try it out. You can take 5 minutes of your time. You can try it out soon. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, guys. Come on soon. Come on soon. Everyone, don't be quiet. Just try it out. I want you people to try it out, guys. Give a try of it. It is very basic, I guess. Everyone knows in a normal approach. Continuously divide a number until it reaches 0. Take a remainder of it and try to add it. Try it soon. Guys, come on soon. How long? Very basic program. Just give me the logic part alone. That is fine. Logic part will hardly takes 4 lines to 5 lines of code. That's it. Not more than that. Typing 4 lines, it is very easy, guys. Come on soon. So if at all you're clear with this only, where recursion part will be understanding for you people. Else recursion will be very hard for you people to understand. Where the merge chart recursion. Okay. Are you people trying, or shall we discuss here? Since the session is only for 2 hours, if at all I am giving too long time, it will be very hard for us to complete, guys. Okay, good, good. I could see people are trying out. Good. Nice to see. Okay, if your n value equals to 0. Okay. Can I divide until 0? Good. Good. Good, Dibyakant, your answer is right. Good, good. And what about the next one? Kanishwar. Kanishwar. Kanishwar, your answer is also right. Good. Is anyone trying it? Good, guys. Good. Good to see. Okay, Chinmaya. Good, Chinmaya. Good. Good, guys. Good. Nice to see. Everyone is doing it. Okay. Okay, fine. We'll try it out here. We are running out of time. I guess few people have tried it out. And whatever you try, you given is right. So now let me start with this one. I guess my screen is visible. Now, let me write the outer statement of it. Hash include. What happened? Let me save this file. Give me a second. Sum of digit, right? stdio.h and followed by your main and here return 0. Here what you are doing, you are supposed to accept number from a user. So now let us declare a variable and we will accept directly a number from the user. And followed by it, what you are supposed to do, we are supposed to do sum of digit function, right? So let me give SOD sum of digit as your function name and let me pass this number as a parameter. So let me give this statement inside a print. Since this function is going to return sum of digit of whatever the value I am giving. So let me give this inside the function call as printf. Now let us go ahead with the function definition. So let me mention int sum of digit. Let me accept this number with a variable name called number. Then we can go ahead with the definition part. So if at all the number is given as 345, what you are going to do is you are going to consecutively divide a number. So initially what I will do, I will divide this 345. If I do modulo of it, modulo by 10, I will get 5. Okay, if I do divide of this particular number, I'll get with 10, I'll get 34. So what I'll do is for each and every step, I'll take this reminder value and I'll store in my result. So first I'll store 5. Again taking this as a value, 34 as a value, again I'm going to divide this value by 10. So we are going to remove the 1 by 1 element from the 10th position. Sorry, my ones place, not 10th position. It's from ones place. Sorry for it. You're supposed to remove value 1 by 1 from ones place just by dividing it by 10 and by using modulo of it. If you're using modulo, the value will be the last value will be taken. If you're doing divider of it, apart from the ones place, remaining value will be taken. So for the next division, what happened? 4 will be taken away, and here you'll be getting 34 divided by 10 as 3 as your output. So already your result has 5. So now what happened? Along with the result, I'm going to add this 4. And right now, alternated modified value is 3. So 3 modulo by 10, it's going to, just a minute, 3 modulo by 10, which is going to produce you the value 3 again. And here 3 divided by 10, which is going to give you answer 0 point something as 0. So now I'm going to take my remainder value and add along with it. So result assign 5 plus 4 plus 3 will be added. And for the next iteration, when I'm taking this particular loop has to be executed until the given number not equals to 0 or greater than 0. It's up to you. This is the condition we're supposed to apply. Okay. So you're going to consecutively divide a number. So until the number reaches 0, I'm going to divide it. Once it reaches 0, I'm going to terminate it. This is the condition we're going to apply. Now we can go ahead further and we can apply the while loop condition here. Okay. While loop condition, and here if at all you are going to make use this by using recursion, have a habit of writing this termination condition by using if statement. So when my loop is going to terminate, if at all my n value reaches 0, you can terminate. Or it is not even, you can avoid even one step before to it. If at all your n value is less than or equal to 9, which is nothing but from 2-digit number to 1-digit number. Once I get 1-digit number, no need of going further division. For sure, this is the other number to be added along with it. So I can make this number directly. If at all my number is less than 9, you can stop it and I can return my n value to my stack. Clear? Else. You can put the statement by using else or without else. Both are going to be the same. Else, what you're going to do is you're going to return. You're going to make a function call again. Sum of digit. Here in sum of digit, what I told you, you're going to make consecutive divide of a number and modulo of a number. So have a habit of a number modulo by 10 plus, sorry guys, it should not be in sum of digit. They directly are supposed to make a number modulo by 10. So number modulo by 10 plus sum of digit of number divided by 10. Is that clear? The same process are written by as a statement. So taking a number, just you're going to do first modulo of it, I'll get remainder. Along with the remainder, I'll have a function call. So we'll have a stack tracing here. It will be easy for you people to understand how it is work in recursion method. So initially, let us assume the number passed is. Let us assume the number passed is. It's the same number, 345. Okay, just a minute. Just keep on going down. Let me scroll little down, guys. It will be easy for you to look at it. Okay, now we are going to trace this one. So initially what happened? I'll take this number, I'll check whether 345 is less than 9. No, it is not less than 9. In this case, it will come down. Here what happened? Your function call will happen. First, what will do is you're going to mention 345 modulo by 10 plus sum of digit of the number divided by 10. Divide by this will give you 34 again. Okay, so again this function will be called. So what happened? 334 modulo by 10 plus sum of digit of it is going to happen sum of digit of 34 divided by 10, which is nothing but 3. Okay, now you can notice that, guys, initially I'll call the function with, I'll write down, guys, just a minute in order to make you better understanding. I'll write now. The number is taken as this value. So the function will be called as sum of digit of the particular number 345. So initially what happened, this number will be checked. This condition is not true, automatically come to the else part. So what happened, this will be checked, which is nothing but 345 modulo by 10 plus 345 sum of 345 divided by 10. So it where the sum of digits will be called with the value 34 again. So once you are calling again 34, I'll check whether 34 is less than 9. No. So automatically come here. So 34 modulo by 10 plus sum of digit of Again 34 divided by 10 is going to give you 3. So again I'll go up. So what happened? Again sum of digit of, I'll pass this number 3. So if it is passing 3, what will be returned? 3 will be returned back as the output. So 3 is less than 9. So this particular function is going to return back you 3 as your output. So here sum of digit of 3 is 3. So 3 modulo by 4 is going to produce you 4. So 4 plus 3 is going to be added. Okay. Now again sum of digit of 34 answer is, this is the answer. So substitute this one. So what happens? So modulo of 345 by 10 gives you 5. 5 plus the result of the upper one, sum of digit of 34 is 4 plus 3 is going to produce as the answer. Is this clear, guys? Stack memory one by one. Sarat, Prasanna, few people are just now. Are you joining? I can see now only you are wishing it. Are you people joining now or only today you are joining? Guys, are you people clear with the stack tracing? How does it work? Do you have any doubt on it? No doubt. Okay. Okay, guys, we'll execute this before moving on to next one. So now let us execute this program. Semicolon is missed out. What else is missing? The number. It is not number, it is number. So let me share the output window. Give me a second. I'll stop sharing this and I'll share the output window. You can notice that first we are supposed to accept a number from the user. Let me give the same number 345. So it's going to produce you sum of digit of this number. Is this clear? Is everyone clear with the logic of recursion? Do you have any doubt on it? Clear. Good. Good, guys. Good. So we have seen few programs on recursion. We'll start with merge sort. If time permits, I'll give you still more programs on recursion. Okay. Right now we'll start with merge sort, which is one of the important sorting technique as well as efficient sorting technique. We'll see what is that and we'll see what is the algorithm behind it. And next thing is you're going to see is merge sort. For which TB account you're asking order? For which one you're speaking about? The previous one? Okay. Order of n. N time is going to execute. You can notice that. If n value is, it will be of order of n, number of elements time. Okay. Okay, fine. We'll go ahead with this. So I'll share some Excel sheet, guys. It will be easy for you people if at all I'm explaining with the example in Excel. Then you can come back here and can go ahead step by step. Just give me a second. Let me share it. The Excel is getting loaded. Guys, is this visible? Okay, fine. Important algorithm we are going to see, that is nothing but merge sort. So we have seen other three sorting technique: bubble sort, insertion sort, selection sort. In case of merge sort, we are going to follow divide and conquer approach. I came across this particular divide and conquer already previously. In which logic we have came across? In which logic do we use divide and conquer approach? Where do we see it? Come on. Binary search, good. In case of binary search, where you are going to consecutively divide a array and you're going to search for an element. The same technique is going to be happen here. We'll see how it is going to do, how we are going to do it. So let us take a array of value. So let us assume our array has a value. We'll give some random values, the unsorted array, right? So 23, 40, 10, 3, 6, 25, 12, and 30. Okay, let us assume this is the original array. So in this approach, what we are doing is, we are going to take this as a problem. We are going to divide as a small fragment. Normally, when the debugging task, when a huge program has a error, what you'll do is you'll never see all the lines all together. We'll break it into small modules. We'll check with the fragment by fragment. So what happens? The huge problem can be solved easily. The same thing we are going to do is, I'll take an entire array. I'm going to break it out this array into small values. So how we are going to break it out? For each and every iteration, I'm going to divide into equal halves. I'll divide the particular element in equal half. So how many elements do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have these many elements. So initially what happened? I'll divide this particular array into two equal halves, which is nothing but this is your first half and this is the next half. This is the first division. So as I told you that we are going to consecutively divide the array until the element is divided, each element become a single element. Until each element become as a single element, I'm going to consecutively divide it. Okay. So what happens is, I'll take this one as this is your lower index, higher index, divided, you'll be getting this value. So you people might have a doubt. Here I'm having equal range. If a term doesn't have equal range, what happen? Either your first half will be taken with one value greater, or second half will be taken with one value greater, depending upon the condition what you are writing. So if the array is of equal number, even number, it will be divided into equal half. If it is not a even number, no worry that the one element will be based on your condition what you are writing. It will be along with your left array or your right array. So the one array has broken into two array, that is nothing but the one array is left array and other array is right array. Clear? Now I'll take this array. Again I'll take this array. Again this array will be divided into two equal halves. This is your first array and this is your second array. So right now, initially he is your left array. The complete array is your left array and this person is your right array. Again, this person will be a left array and this person will be right array again. So now I will take this element and right now this person will be your left array and this person will be your right array. Right. Again, this element will be divided. What's happening? Okay. 23, why is this 23 repeated? 10, right? It should be 10. Okay. 40, some copy paste has happened. Okay, fine. Right now, this will become a single element. Again, take this as a single array, divide into two half. So this element will become as a left array, and this element will become as your right array. So you can notice that the entire array has been divided into two equal halves. Again, this left array has taken, again divided into two equal half. Again, the left array is taken, divided into two equal half. Right now, he is the left array and he is the right array. Clear? Again, taking this particular right array. So what you're going to do? Again, you're supposed to divide this particular person into two equal half. So divide this person as two equal half and divide this person as two equal half. And again take this as your array and now divide this person into two equal halves. So at the end you can notice that all the element has been divided and it has been made as a single element at the end. Clear with this? So initially 8 elements has been made as 4 element and 4 element has been made 2 elements and 2 element has been divided again and each and every element has been made as a single element. Is this clear now? So far are you clear? Just we are following divide approach alone. The original array has been consecutively divided until the element has become single element. Right now all the element is single element. So being as a single element, we can say the particular element is a sorted. Each and every element is considered as array. This is one array and this is other array, this is other array, where we will be treating that each and every array is a sorted array here. Is this clear so far? Where divide is done. Shall I proceed? Is this clear so far? Okay, good. Now we are going to merge it. How we are going to merge it? This is the next task you are going to do it. So during your merge operation, I'll take first two elements and I'll arrange this data in a sorted manner. I'll take first two elements where this is going to be arranged and I'll take other two elements which where I'm going to perform sort operation where you're going to merge the element by using sorting. In a sorted manner, I'm going to merge again. Is this clear? So dividing, consecutively divided, then try to merge the element. So I'll tell you how we are going to do it. So you can notice that these two elements is there. So who is the lower value? You can notice that here 23 is less and 40 is greater. So these two data has been merged in the shorter way. And again merging these two. So I'll compare this value. This is left array and this is right array. So taking this as a left array value, right array value, both are compared. You can notice that 3 is lesser. So 3 comes first and 10 comes next. Okay, this data is made in a starter manner. And the same way, next two data. Here I can notice that 23 and 40 is there. 23 is less and 40 is greater. So during a merge also, I'll take this as a left array and this as a right array. And I'm going to merge these two. So I'll merge these two elements. Again, I'll take 10 and 3. Is 10 repeated twice? I could notice that 10 is keep on repeated. What is this value actually? Why it has came this way? Something is... Guys, none of you has told. You can notice the here value is completely different. Until I notice, no one will be noticing. Huh? 12, 30. 6, 25, 12, 30. 25. Some paste has happened and you people also left as such. Huh? Okay. 6 followed by 25 and here you can notice that 12 is the lower value and 30 is the next higher value. So the data has been merged in the shorted manner. Again, this two array will be sorted. So taking this as a left array and taking this as a right array, I'm going to sort it again. So the 4 element will be sorted. So this listen carefully guys, this is the important logic. Listen carefully, this is your left array and this is your right array. Considering this as a left array and considering this as the array, right array, I'll compare 0th index of your left array and 0th index of your right array. Which element is greater, which element is smaller, I'll bring the particular element to the first position of your new array. And next, if I find that this element has been inserted, I'll move the pointer of this person to the next one. Right now, your pointer will be here. I'll check 10 with 23. 10 is smaller, so 10 will be brought here. Your pointer will be incremented. There will be no more element at your right array. Only element is at your left array. So these elements will be brought as such to this array. Since this data in this array are already sorted, so it will be brought as 23 and 40 here. The same way, consider this as a left array and consider this as a right array. So you're going to form a new array based on this. So first, Your both the pointer is going to be at this position. First, I'll check 6 and 12. 6 is smaller, so 6 will be bought here. And next one, your pointer will be checking with at this point. So 12 and 25 and 12. So 12 is the next element. So 12 will be bought here. Again 25 and 30. So 25 is the lowermost element. So 25 is bought here. And next is 30 will be bought here. So I got two sorted this is separate sorted array and this is separate sorted array. The overall at the end what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to bring the element from both the array and you're supposed to merge together. This one array and this other array where you're going to move your pointer one by one and you're going to make it as a sorted one. We'll see how you're going to do it. At the final most you're going to see to it. So initially, listen carefully guys, this is a very important point for dividing and merging. Doing a merging operation is very much important. This is your left array and this is your right array. Okay, initially your pointer person will be here. Your pointer of this particular left array is going to be here, right array is going to be here. I'll compare 3 with 6. Who is lesser? 3 is lesser than 6, so he'll be bought here. And after this, my pointer of this left array will be moved. Your right array will not be moved until you pick an element from it. This is a new array what you're forming. And I'll check 10 with 12. 10 is lower than 12, so 10 will be brought to the new array and your pointer of this particular left array will be incremented. Clear? And next is I'll take this value 23 and I'll compare with my value. Sorry guys. Sorry. 6 is lower than 10, right? So 6 will be bought here. 6 is lower than 10, so 6 is bought here and your pointer will be incremented here. And right now 10 and 12 will be compared. I can notice that your 10 is lower, so 10 will be printed. And after this, you can notice that 10 is bought here. You should increment your pointer to the next position. Now I'll compare 23 with 25, where your 25 value is less than, so 23 value is less than 25. So here 23 will be bought here. And after this, increment your pointer. And now 40 will be compared with 25. 25 is lesser, so 25 will be written here. So your pointer will be moved to this position. 25 after returning it, your pointer will be moved to the next position. Now 30 with 40 will be compared. 30 is lesser, so 30 is inserted here. And this all the data in this array has been computed. There is only one more data left over. You can insert that value directly. If at all the value is there, you can insert the data directly in your new array. So this is how your merge sort works, guys. Divide and conquer method. You're going to continuously, at the end you can notice that you're going to get the output in a sorted way. Your output is sorted array. Okay, you're going to consecutively divide the array into multiple subarray until the array reaches 1. 12 we left out. Where do we left out 12? I guess we left out 12 somewhere. We'll place this 12 here. During a calculation part, I left us 12 somewhere. So first 3, next 6, okay, next 10, and next 12, and next 23, 30, 40. Is this clear? Clear with the logic how the merge sort works? Come on, respond me. Okay, fine. Now, what you're going to do is, we are going to write algorithm for it. I told you that we are going to follow divide and conquer approach. Now we'll see how to write, how to divide continuously and how to merge it. This is the operation we are going to see. Listen carefully. Okay. Now let me go ahead back to your editor. Just a minute, guys. Let me open the editor. I guess this editor is visible right now, isn't it? Yes. Okay. Let me write the required elements first. So what we are going to do is, I'm going to We are going to write an algorithm for it where let me declare an array and let me initialize value for it before starting with the logical part. So let me declare an array with size 10. And right now let me initialize the value here, guys. Okay. Let me initialize the value, some value 20, 30, 40, 10, 70, 90, 80. How many values are there? 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 60. And one more value, let it be 55. So right now 10 values is given and let me assume your n size is 10 here. N values assigned with the size 10. Now directly from here what I'm going to do is you're going to call your merge sort program. Merge sort will be called from here. So for merge sort, what are the element has to be passed? My array and followed by my size of the array. These are the two inputs has to be given. Done. Everything is fine. Now let us go and write with the algorithm logic for it. Now we'll have a logic for merge sort. So you're going to receive two elements. One is your array, another is size of your array, right? So these are the two elements which you're going to receive from the user. And here, what you're going to do is we are going to continuously divide an element where we'll be having two arrays. So each and every time when you're going to divide an element, so I'll be forming two new arrays, guys. This is your original array. So once I divide it by two, where the first half will be stored in one new array and the next half will be stored in other new array. Okay. This 10 element is there. 9 values are there. Okay, we'll write one more value 65. Okay. It is corrected now. Now right now 10 values are there. So what happened? I'm going to divide it by 2 where first 5 elements will be stored in one new array. For each and every time when you're dividing it, each and every element will be creating a new array. As we say, continuously dividing, right? So this will be as left array and this will be as right array. Again divided. So this element will act as a left array and this element will be acting as a right array. So continuously you're going to divide it by 2. We'll see what you're going to do. So for this, let me have two pointer. I'm going to allocate memory dynamically at my runtime continuously. So let me have one pointer as L array, which is nothing but left array, and one pointer as right array. Let me have these two person, and I'm going to keep on divided until my size value, right? Until my n is less than 2. This process is going to happen. Until my n is less than 2, this process will be continued. So I have written my termination condition here. So for each and every iteration, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a mid value of it. So let me declare one more variable called mid. I'll be finding mid value. Mid value is equals to size divided by 2. And after this, what I'm doing is I'm supposed to allocate memory for a left array and right array. So let me allocate memory by using dynamic memory allocation. Left array, I guess I thought you people at the first day itself how to allocate memory dynamically by using talloc, malloc. Okay, you can make use of the same approach. Int star. So let me make use of calloc and followed by what in case of calloc, it will take just a minute, guys. Sorry guys, sorry for the interrupt. So by using calloc, we'll have two parameters. Your first parameter is nothing but we'll have this mid into, just a minute, size of int. Number of bytes into size of each block. That is the formula for this one, right? For malloc. In case of calloc, number of bytes comma size of each block. Here, what I'm going to do is for my left array until my mid. So until my mid in the sense, if it is 5, if it is 10, a mid will be 5. So I'll be allocating 5 blocks of memory. Is that clear, guys? Why I have mentioned mid comma size of integer? If the size is 10, during your first division, what happened? I need to allocate 5 block of memory for my left array and 5 block of memory for my right array. So the size of your left array is decided by your mid value. So starting to mid value, I'll allocate memory as 5. That is 5 will be calculated as your mid value here. The particular value will be substituted. And same way, let me create for a right array. Right array assign int star CLOC of here. What is the memory? The memory is nothing but I know what is the size of this particular array. What is the size of this array? 10. So if I want to know the next half, what is the next half? What is the next half? In those case, what I can do is I can mention size minus your mid value. Guys, just look at it and let me know, is it clear? If you want to calculate the first half, that is fine. I can mention by 2. For the next half, I doesn't know what is the size. I can't able to say roughly as mid minus 1 to n. So directly I can do like this. I know what is the size of this array. So I can mention size minus mid is going to give you the next half size. Is this clear? Just give me confirmation. Is that clear or you want me to repeat again? Yes, size. Okay. When I'm speaking about a size, I given a size actually should be mentioned as n by 2. Thank you, guys. Okay. So n by 2. So your CL for the first left half, I'll be allocating as mid value as your size, and for a right, I'll take my size as size minus mid minus 1. This is your size. Okay. And followed by comma size of int. I guess you people are clear so far. We are allocated 2 pointer for each and every division. I'm going to allocate 2 separate pointer for your left array and right array. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'll copy this particular data to your left array for each and every iteration. So I'll mention one for loop for I assign 0, I less than your mid value followed by I plus plus. So here your left array will be initialized with, where your left array is I value, will be initialized with array of your I value. So I'll run my iteration where all the data from your left array 0 to less than mid value will be copied. Since you're going to start with your 0th index, so you'll go ahead with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 elements will be copied to your left array. So same way I'll copy the remaining elements to my right array. So for your right array, where the particular iteration starts, it starts with your mid value, and this element goes till less than your size and followed by I plus plus. The same way I'm going to copy all the elements to my right array. Here the index position is, I'm supposed to mention my right array index position as I minus mid. So I minus mid is nothing but this right array is a separate array. So right array elements should be stored from the 0th position, right? So what I can do is I minus mid. Right now, what is your mid? 0. Mid value is 5, right? So I value is also 5. 5 minus 5, 0. Okay. Again, for the next iteration, it increases. So again, your I value will become as initially a 5. Initially, your I value will be 5. And if next iteration your I value will be 6, but your mid value never changes, right? So 6 minus 5 gives you first position. Again 7 minus 5 gives you second position. Is that clear? The elements in the array has been stored as 0th position, first position and 1 position. Again here I did mistake, n minus 1. And here size, guys. Since I was keep on specifying size and writing size here, wherever we mention size, you're supposed to mention n as the value. Is this clear so far, guys? Why I mentioned this R value as mid minus I minus mid and here followed by array of I. So what happened? Just I'm copying the first half in your left array and next half in your right array. So this operation is done. After copying, what I should do? Again I should call this left array divided into two half, right? So again I'll call my merge sort. The same process has to be happen again and again until the element become 1. So how long can we write this particular process again and again? So I'll make my left array and mid as your again function call, recursion function call, guys. Merge sort followed by your right array, comma, your n minus mid. Is this two statement clear? After taking the data in it, after taking the first half and next half, again I'll call my merge sort by left array and its mid value. Array and its mid value I'll pass it. That is nothing but size. So again I'll pass this, I'll take this as my sub array and I'll pass it as again divided. So what happened? This array and the size is the mid value will be passed. So what happened? This is going to be divided. Again further this process is going to happen again consecutively. This process is going to happen again consecutively until your n value is less than 1. So once it reaches less than 2, once it reaches less than 2, your loop breaks. So is this clear, guys? Here I am using recursion. Now I'll break all the elements. So by using this merge sort recursive call, I have made all the element consecutive divided. Now everything has become as one element. Now we feel that I want to join the element again by sorting it. So we are supposed to write separate algorithm for merging the data again. Is that clear? I need separate algorithm for merging the data again. So we will write the algorithm for it. So let us write the algorithm merge. And this merge is going to take, I need what I'll pass here what is the original array and what is your left array and what is your right array. So these are the information I'll pass it. So what is the original array you're passing and what is your left array and what is your right array. And after this I'll pass the left array size and right array size. Where left array size is your mid value is the left array size and your right value is nothing but the size minus mid is going to be your right array size. So if at all I want to merge the data again, I want all this information. So we are going to write algorithm for this one. So now let us go ahead with your function definition part. This function definition is very much important, guys. You should understand the flow. Just a minute, let me copy it. All. Let me copy it here. And here you're going to have merge function. So let me declare array whatever it is required. Let me declare int star arr and followed by int star your left array, and here this is the size of your left array, right? So let me keep it as L size instead of keeping mid. If I keep it as L size, that will be easy for you people to understand. Your left array size, and let me have int star your right array and followed by whatever the value I am passing will be received by using right array size, right? So let me mention as R size. So these are the values which I am accepting from this merge. In our continuously divided, now we are going to join all the divided fragment again. Okay. Now for my iteration, what I'll do is I'll declare overall 3 pointers. One is I, another is J, another is K. Right now I'm not going to write logic here, guys. We'll go to Excel, we'll write the logic, which will be easy for you people to understand. Then we can paste the code as such here. Okay, if at all I'm just writing here, you'll be in the imagination mode. I don't want that to happen. I'll go to Excel, we'll write the logic directly in Excel itself. Give me a second, I'll go back there. I'll share the screen. Is the screen visible, ma? Yes, no, something. Yes, okay. Now we are going to write algorithm here. So I will take these two one. It will be easy for us. This is your left array and this is your right array. So let us assume this is your left array and let me remove all those elements inside this before the sorted value. Let me remove it. So left array this is passed and this is your right array which is passed, and size of each and every array is size of this array is 4, and your L size, let us assume your L size is given as 4 and your R size is given as 4. Right now we are going to see how to merge this two sorted element. So you're going to form a new array. For my iteration, let me declare two values. One value is I, which is for iterating my left array. One value, let it be J, which is for checking condition of my right array. And let me have one more pointer called K in order to keep track of my new array. So totally how many pointers is required? For me, 3 pointers are required. Those person are I value, J and K. So I need these three persons I, J, K for keeping track of my position. So after to this, what you're going to do is we are going to initialize these values. All these three person I should be equals to 0 and your J should be 0 initially and your K value should be 0 initially. So this is the condition which we people are supposed to follow. And after to it, after initializing these one, now we people are supposed to apply condition for merging these elements. So what is the condition I'm going to apply is, I'm going to traverse this value. I'm going to traverse this left array until my I value is less than my L size. The reason is how many index position we are having? We are having the index position 0, 1, 2, 3. So until your I value is less than your L size, this pointer will be traversed. Same way, until your J value is less than your R size, the J pointer is going to travel. So this is a condition where you're going to apply while my I value is less than your L size and your J value is less than your R size. Is that clear? Until your I value is less than your L size and until your R value is less than your R size, I'm going to perform your checking condition operation. So for each and every check, what I'll do is I'll check my L array of ith index. L array of ith index. Just a minute. Let me type here. L array of ith index is less than R array of jth index. Look at here. Is it clear? Let me go back here. You can look at here. L array of ith index is 3. I'll check whether L array of 3 is less than L array of jth index. Right now both the person are the zeroth index. So I'll check whether the element at these two index or whether your L array position is less than your R array. If this condition is true, which value has to be brought to the new value? Your L array's ith value has to be brought to the new value, right? It's a new array. So this is the operation where I'm going to perform. I'll compare this 3 with 6. I can find that 3 is a lesser value. So this condition will be true. Where L array of L, just a minute guys, there is small typo error. Okay. Where my L array of I value is less than R array of J value, this condition is true. If this condition is true, what I'll do, I should place my value in my array. The newly going to form array name is ARR. ARR of kth position. K is initially, where is the K? K is initially at the 0th position. Let me write the index position, guys. It will be easy for you people to track during your insert operation. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Right now, what happened? The value has to be inserted at the kth position. So, array of k will be initialized with the value of your left index array, right? So, L array of I value will be indexed, will be initialized. And after this, so what should I do here? So, I should bring this value. You can notice that I bring this value 3 here. So, I'll bring this value 3, and after this, what should I do? I should make my I pointer to come to the next position, because this value is already compared and inserted with the new array, right? So, I should not make next comparison with the same position. I should make my pointer to come here. I should increment my pointer. So, I'll do the particular operation here. I'll make my I value to increment as I plus plus. So, now this operation is done. So, let us assume if at all this particular value is not lesser. Let us assume it is some value 13 and I have 6 here. So, which value will be lesser? This value will be lesser. So, this position value has to be brought to this index position. Got it? So, for that we are going to write a condition, else if this condition is not true, I'll write a condition here. So, instead of placing array of k with left array of I, I'll place it as right array of j, and what I'm going to do? I'm going to increment my j pointer plus 1. Guys, is this clear why I'm mentioning this one? If the value of left array is less, I'll insert the value of left array of I, and I'll increment my I pointer. If the value is greater, I'll insert the value of my right array and I'll increment my j pointer. Is this clear? Okay, good. So after doing these two operations, what should I do? Parallelly, I should conserve my pointer of my array also, right? The same portion I should not insert it. So after doing this, I should move my k pointer. So after checking both the condition and performing insert operation, overall you are supposed to increment your k value with k plus plus. Done. Now it's working fine for this one. So let us assume, okay, the same operation is going to happen. So let me assume some values, guys. For example, let me assume, just ignore the previous one. What are the cases I told you? The values are 18 and values is 20. Okay, if the value is like this, the value is 18, 20 like this. Let us assume this is a left array and this is right array. So as per the logic we are written so far, what we are considering is we are taking this index position, right? We are taking this value, we are taking this particular 0th value with 6. So if this value is lesser, I'll insert this value here and I'll increment my I value here. And again, I'll check my 10 with 6. 6 is smaller, so I'll insert my 6 here. I'll increment my j pointer to the next position. Okay, I'll increment my j pointer to the next position. It comes here. And moreover, I'll increment my k pointer here. Here 6. Let me have this highlighted, guys. Just a minute. It'll be easy for you people to track it. This is a pointer and this is a right now pointer. So initially 3 and 6, 3 will be inserted and your I pointer moves. And next is 6 and 10. So 6 is lesser. So 6 will be inserted and your pointers move to the next position. Again, your parallel you're supposed to move your k value, right? Now I'll compare 10 with 12. Who is lesser? 10 is lesser. So 10 will be inserted and moreover your 10 pointer will be moved to the next position. And after doing this, I'll come out of it. The same algorithm I'm explaining, guys. I'll come out of it. I'll increment my k pointer. Now again, let me assume. Okay. Again, I'll take the next value. I'll compare 12 with 23. I can notice that 12 is a lesser value. It will be inserted here and here j pointer will be incremented to the next position. So the j pointer comes here and a k pointer also will be incremented parallelly. Again, what I'll do is this pointer remains here itself. Again, I'll compare 18 with 23. I can notice that 18 is the lower value. Lower value will be inserted. Okay, after this your j pointer is incremented here. You can notice that it came here and your k pointer will be at this position. Right now 20 with 23 will be compared, 20 is lesser, this process is completed. So as for now you can notice that your right array is completed and right now your j value is less than r size. Since your r size is 5, for the next incrementation what happened? Your loop breaks, right? Your while loop breaks, no more condition is there. The reason is if your j value reaches 4, what happened? There is no more value to be compared. So now what happened? You can notice that these two data is not inserted. These two data is left over. So if at all we are having equal scenario, until this it's fine. Okay, if you have some value, if at all the list, if you have some leftover value in a left array, or if you have some leftover array in a right array, leftover values are there, what you are supposed to do is you are not supposed to concern about the values. You are coming out of it directly. So now we are supposed to write separate logic for bringing this value here. Okay, now we'll write a separate logic for it. For this other part alone, which is nothing but the leftover part. So here, let me write one more while loop. For the leftover part one, we are writing condition guys here. While my I value is less than L size. Just I'm considering about my left array alone first. Whenever my I value is less than my L size. So you can notice that what is the I value? My I value is at my second position. What is the L size, which is 4, which is lesser. So by default, what does it mean? Few more values are there. So directly you can take this value and place it here. No need of sorting it again. Already the data are sorted and merged as a sorted array. So it is not required to sort it again. So once you find that I value is less than your L size, directly you can bring this value at this position. So you're supposed to write the logic here. Array of k is assigned with L array of I value. After this, directly just you're supposed to increment your I pointer and you're supposed to increment my k pointer. So this is the logic you're supposed to do. So now let us go here. Just I'm assigning this I value here, increment I and increment k. You can notice here. So what I'll do, my condition is true. So what happened? This value will be, right now your k pointer will be here. So this value will be brought to this position. So 23. After this your I pointer will be brought here. It will be incremented. And same way your k pointer also will be incremented. Again the next value will be brought here until my I value is less than your size value. Once your I value reaches beyond its size, which is nothing but when it reaches 4 value, your loop breaks. Is it clear? So if at all some leftover element is in left array, I brought all this thing to the, I brought all the value to the new formed array. So the same condition you are supposed to write for your right array also. So for right array, what I'll mention? While my I value is, sorry, j value, right? When my j value is less than your right array, not right array, right size. When it is lesser, we are supposed to mention array of k is initialized with right array of j. Right array of j and followed by increment your j pointer, increment your k pointer. That's it. Your logic is done. Guys, is this clear how to merge it? Do you have any doubt on it? Shall we paste it and we can execute this piece of line? Is that clear, guys? Just we have seen how to merge the data again. The sorted data is there. Again, you're supposed to perform merge. For merging, first we'll write the logic. Then if at all, if any element is left over, then we can write separate logic for the leftover element alone. Is that clear? Do you have any doubt? Okay, good. I'll place this code in the editor and we'll try to execute it. Just a minute. Let me copy this one. I will paste it there. The same indentation issue will be facing. If at all you are pasting it in Excel or something, the indentation issue we are supposed to resolve it. Give me a second. The uppercase, lowercase issues will be facing. Okay. Just a minute, ma. So this is done. Yeah, I should be modified to lowercase. So these statements are given inside this while loop, I guess, right? Yeah. Inside a while loop and outside a while loop. Okay. Fine. The same way. Guys, where indentation, everything shows your coding ethics, right? So be aware of it. So I guess we do have one extra parameter. We'll remove this braces. Now we'll start executing it. Does that here parenthesis, I guess we left out one parenthesis. The error we are facing here, size of integer. Let me check above. I'll include the header file for mlog, guys. Include cdlib.h. I guess everything is right. Clog followed by n minus mid. This is right. Okay. Parenthesis, the order what we are written. This should be written in one parenthesis, and here followed by size of int. Okay. If at all you didn't close it, I guess it is closing here. Okay. The parenthesis is missing. If there is any other issue, merge short, unreferenced merge short. Just a minute, guys, we'll debug it. Merge short, I guess. Yes is given uppercase, and here it shows that there is no function called merge short. Here we are mentioned lowercase. That's the issue. Okay, guys, we'll do one thing. Before proceeding further, we are supposed to print my output, right? So we'll print it and then we'll execute it. Now everything will be fine. Now we'll have a variable for iteration. So let me declare a variable called I. Now we'll start our iteration part. For I assign 0 and your I less than your n value followed by I plus plus, and inside this you're going to print the data. So let me print a percentage d comma array of I. Here, now this is done. Execute it. Just a minute, guys, I'll share you the output window. Give me a second. Unfortunately, your compiler has been closed. Just a minute, I'll open it again. Just a minute, guys. Let me share it. Editor has been opened. Go back to the editor. I guess this output window is visible. So value we are given is 10 to 90. The mean value we are given 55 and 65 as one of the value. So you can notice that the data has been sorted. Okay, the output wise the sorting is done. So whatever the sorting you're going to implement, that you'll be getting only the sorted array as your output. So the logic behind it is varying. So you can look at it. If at all you have any doubt on it, you can let me know, guys. Where this merge sort is the efficient one, which is the efficient one. And for this, what could be the complexity? What could be the complexity? I taught you how to calculate it. For dividing, what is the complexity we got? For dividing a loop and we are doing operation of a for loop, what is the complexity did we got? Time complexity. Could you people remember? Good. We'll be getting n log n as your time complexity for your divide. Mentioning as asymptotic notation, big O n log n. This is the time complexity of your merge sort, which is the efficient sorting algorithm compared to all the other sort. Is this clear? Guys, do you have any doubt on it? You can let me know. You can look at this algorithm where this merge sort is a very important concept, ma. Good, good. The only thing is you should know what is the logic behind it. It's not required for you people to mug up any logic. Directly you can work it out. You're supposed to know the flow of it. That's it. Okay, I guess everyone is clear with it. So I will see one of the another basic program alone. Okay. So by tomorrow we'll be seeing few more complex program. I guess we are having session by tomorrow also, right? Isn't it? Yes. Tomorrow is the last session, I guess. Okay, okay. Okay, guys. We'll see one more question, one more scenario. Okay. Will you try this reversing a number by using recursion? Reverse a number by recursion. Reverse the number, I guess everyone knows it. If the value is given 1, 2, 3, 4, my output should be displayed as 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on, try it out. It will take hardly few minutes of time to complete it. Try to complete soon. Come on, soon. The same approach, only small changes in the previous logic. Come on, soon. Okay, shall we see here? You people are so quiet. What does it mean? The same logic, guys. Why you people are thinking a lot? Here, what you are doing? For the previous one, we did sum of digit, right? I guess you people, where it is sum of digit. This is all about your sum of digit. So what you are supposed to do? I'm supposed to reverse the number. I'm taking first 5. So at the next step, if at all you're supposed to reverse the number, first you're supposed to take 5 and next take 4. Add 4 at the tens place of your 5. Again take 3. Add at your, sorry Mano, at your ones, not tens place, at your ones place of your 4 again. So what happened? Take 5, multiply 10, add 4. Take 54, multiply 10, add 3. You'll be getting this number. What happened to you people? The same logic. What are you supposed to do? Let me copy paste this. There are small changes in it. Instead of typing, if I copy paste, it will be easy for you people to understand the difference. Let me copy paste it here and let me save this one, guys. Let me save this file and let me mention as reversing by using recursion, right? So reverse. So let me modify this function name as reverse and here reverse. Okay. Here, instead of applying this condition, let me change the condition a little. So until my number greater than 0, I'm going to do this operation. So what you're going to do? You're going to let me have the statement where you're going to calculate reverse, right? You can have yeah, the same statement. Why do I modify it? Just a minute, just a minute, just a minute. If it is equals to 0, okay, let it be. If it is, let it be greater than 9 instead of modifying this condition also. Here, a small condition has to be modified here. What I can do here, for each and every iteration, we'll have one variable called result. We are supposed to do result into 10 plus the modulo value. And here, as I said, you're supposed to call this reverse function by dividing it. So let us call this return reverse of number divided by 10. So since we are having more than one statement, let me put this statement inside a loop, inside a curly braces. Not inside a loop, inside a curly braces. Okay, so what happened? Initially, let me declare this result value as I can declare one variable as global variable and initially this result is 0. Okay, fine. Guys, can you able to get what I'm doing here? Come on, respond me. Okay. Here you can do this condition also, either less than number or you can mention this one also. Either you can mention this or you can have, okay, let me execute this and we'll check with it whether it is working fine. Okay, here. I command all those things, guys. Give me a second. I'll execute this. Some logical flaw is there here. I commented along with this one. Okay. Did we write header file? And write header file here. So let us write header file. semicolon. Okay. Again, what else? The small typo errors are there, guys. That's it. We'll modify all this thing. So then we'll execute this. We'll check. Just a minute. We'll check with the logic once. And apply this condition until your number is greater than 0. You will remove one parenthesis. It's not required. Yeah, it's required. So what you're doing here? Just a minute, guys. You'll see to it. We made small logical flaw. We'll find it out where we missed out. Just a minute, guys. We'll fix it out. A small error is there. We'll fix it out. Just a minute.